I'm Ashin Singh. It's a Friday, August 7th. You've got questions and we've got answers. And this is Search. We're breaking down what you're asking right now in real time. Let's get right to it. We've got our Maya Ephraim here. She oversees our online search trends. Maya, happy Friday. What are people searching for today?
Hi, Ashan. Happy Friday. The NFL season is just around the corner, and the preseason officially kicked off yesterday with the Hall of Fame game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers won the match, and the game had searches in the millions. I'm also starting to see a real appetite for broader NFL predictions. People are looking for schedules and a preview of how the teams, coaches, and players are looking. Turning to the latest recall now, a nut butter spread sold at Walmart has been recalled with a possible salmonella contamination. This, coupled with the lettuce, jalapeno, and egg recalls, is leading to very clear anxiety. Aside from the general symptoms and treatment questions, people are looking up what and where it's still safe to eat and just what is leading to all these foodborne illnesses. And in Florida, the Republican primary for governor is turning heated after a candidate, James Fishback, publicly said his opponent, Congressman Byron Donalds, is under federal investigation. The accusations were made during a press conference and on his social media. Now people are fact-checking whether this is true, looking for more on Byron Donalds and whether he is a Trump-backed candidate.
Well, a lot to get to today, but most importantly, football is back. Thank you, Maya. We'll check back with you in just a bit. Okay, let's dive a little deeper into the story that you guys cannot stop asking about, the NFL preseason game between the Panthers and the Cardinals. And we've got WABC TV sports anchor Sam Ryan to break it down for us. Sam, football is back. I am thrilled. We had a preseason game on a neutral site. A lot of people are searching where it was and what actually went down. Tell us about it.
Well, I love that people are searching NFL here the first weekend in August because, yes, NFL season is right around the corner. This is the annual Hall of Fame preseason game. This was in Canton, Ohio, between, as Maya mentioned earlier, the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. This one went down to the wire, 33-30, the final score. Carolina winning this one on a rushing touchdown by Haynes King, the undrafted rookie quarterback by Carolina. But we have to look at the Cardinals also and what they did. Their rookie quarterback, Carson Beck, really stood out in this one, leading them on 3 straight scoring drives in the first half. No interceptions in the first half, his first taste of the NFL. So this one was all about the rookie quarterbacks really showing up in this one and really delighting the fans. And you talked about the searches. People want to see the NFL, and this one delivered going down to the wire.
Yeah, for sure. It came down to the wire. I think McAfee was calling it the greatest preseason game of all time. So it was definitely exciting. We're seeing a lot of searches, Sam, about the 2 young head coaches for both teams behind the sidelines. What do we know about them? I know the Cardinals got a new guy, and we've got an incumbent there in Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina, Dave Canales, he was hired in 2024. He came their way from Tampa Bay, where he was the offensive coordinator. As for Mike LaFleur, you may know the name. He was the offensive coordinator with the Rams. He's Matt LaFleur's younger brother. Matt is the head coach with the Green Bay Packers. So this was his NFL coaching debut, albeit preseason. But for Mike LaFleur, his NFL coaching debut last night with the Cardinals.
And Sam, we're seeing a lot of searches about the preseason and about the Hall of Fame game. For people who are not football fans, just exactly how important is this time of year for coaches and teams, while also not getting too ahead of ourselves, just how good these teams might actually be?
Yeah, it's still so early in the preseason. This kicks off the NFL preseason, this Hall of Fame game every year. So just a couple of weeks into training camp. So we're seeing these teams and these first 2 teams in the national spotlight to kick off the exhibition schedule, the preseason schedule. Since 1962, it's been the kickoff to the exhibition season for this Hall of Fame game. And really, you know, because it's the national spotlight, you're not seeing the starters play the full game or not. So we did see the rookie quarterback back going into the second half of this one, but you're not seeing a lot of your stars out there early on. But in this game, there is definitely more attention to this and excitement.
And Sam, before I cut you loose for the weekend, we're seeing a lot of search interest about the Hall of Fame game, just the Hall of Fame aspect around it and what it actually means as it pertains to this preseason game. What does it take to be an NFL Hall of Famer, and how are they being honored this weekend?
Oh, they're being honored this weekend, and you're going to see the likes of Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees. But, it's having the stats. It's having that impressive career. And, obviously you also have to be retired from the game at least 5 seasons. So you have to have those numbers. You have to have at least one NFL, one postseason honor, such as All-Pro, Pro Bowl in your career. Have those numbers, have those stats. You have to appear on the ballot, be nominated, and have the favorable vote by 80%. You look at Eli Manning here with the New York Giants, a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, and still not yet 2 times on the ballot, not in the Hall of Fame just yet. A lot of Giants fans are waiting for this, but still coming up shy of that vote of the 80% to make his way to Canton, Ohio. So, yeah, 5 years retired, 5 seasons retired from the NFL, and having those stats, and sometimes it's a waiting game.
Yeah, that coveted gold jacket, but most importantly, football is back. Sam Ryan, excited to chat more with you about it. Appreciate you. Let's head to another food recall that's trending up in search. Yuri Benejoud from our Med Unit has our answers to your questions. Yuri, man, it's another week, another food recall. What products from Walmart are actually being recalled right now, and what's the retail giant even saying about it?
It's like you said, it feels like another day, another recall. This time we're talking about Better Goods Pistachio Nut Butter. This is actually a product that was imported from Italy and then went out to Walmart locations across 19 different states. Now, luckily, we haven't seen any illnesses from this outbreak at this point. What actually happened was Florida health officials went in and tested the jars of butter, and that's when they found the salmonella contamination, and that led Walmart then to issue that voluntary recall. And in a statement to us, Walmart wrote, "Safety is a top priority. When notified of recalls, we move swiftly to remove the impacted products from our stores and implement a sales block at our registers and online. We are working closely with our supplier and customers who have this and should discontinue use." So in other words, if you have this product at home, make sure you're at least returning it to the store or just throwing it out altogether.
Yeah, Yuri, break this down for me, because it feels like, and just correct me if I'm wrong, every time I've talked about salmonella in the past, it usually has to do with poultry and eggs, but the last few times you and I have chatted, it's been about jalapenos and now nut butter. How are these items getting contaminated with salmonella?
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, right? But salmonella is a bacteria, and we find it in the environment. So, for example, if irrigation water is contaminated with the bacteria, that water is then used on a farm. Well, now you have produce that is also contaminated. But it can also happen after harvest, right? So many of our products come through large distribution chains. So after a produce is pulled from the farm, if there's any dirty machines or surfaces at that processing site, for example, that can be another reason for the contamination there.
So you're saying that no food in particular is actually what causes salmonella. There are just some that are more prone to being contaminated with that bacteria.
That's exactly right. So any food can actually be contaminated with salmonella. Oftentimes when we talk about these outbreaks, right, we're talking about things like chicken and ground beef and seafood, but really anything can be contaminated. And it's not just these, food distributors that are responsible sometimes for these salmonella outbreaks. You can also have that at home inside your kitchen where you want to be careful. So I'll give you an example, right? If you're cutting raw chicken on a cutting board and then you cook it in the oven or on the stovetop, and then you put it back on that raw cutting board, well, then you're potentially exposing yourself to salmonella. And Austin, it's not just food. I also want to point out, we also see sometimes cases and outbreaks related to petting zoos or farms where people are interacting with animals that carry this bacteria, and they also get sick there. There's actually a current outbreak related to pet turtles that sickened at least 8 children across the U.S.
Holy cow. I didn't realize you could get salmonella in so many places. That's fascinating. Thank you. Before I let you go, though, I got to ask you, because we have a breakout search about this, and it might be from me, but dude, why are there so many food recalls right now? What do we know about this, and are health officials responding to this?
Yeah, it can feel a little overwhelming right now, right? But you have to remember, gone are the days where you're able to, for many Americans, make your own produce in your backyard or go to your local farmer's market. We have these huge global supply chains. You have farms, distribution centers, processing sites. So those all go out to a variety of different states. So if there's contamination at any of those points, you can have a lot of people sick in a lot of different states. And so that's why, you're seeing these large different outbreaks. The concern, at least when I talk to public health experts, is about CDC and FDA cuts in both funding and people. We're seeing a lot more outbreaks, and it's really a labor-intensive work to make sure you're keeping track of all these different cases and keeping the American public safe here.
Yuri, appreciate you, man. Hoping for no more, but I'm sure there will be. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Let's head down to politics and claims being made against Republican Congressman Byron Donalds. Christian Cordero is keeping tabs on this for us out of D.C. Christian, it's always a pleasure. You got to break this one down for me because there's a lot of moving parts here. First of all, who is James Fishback and what are his allegations he's making about Byron Donalds?
So both James Fishback and Byron Donalds are running Austin to be Republicans, Florida's Republican gubernatorial candidate. That election is in less than 2 weeks. Byron Donalds also is a U.S. representative. What Fishback is alleging is that Donalds participated in a federal sex trafficking operation alongside a Florida congressman back in 2024. He said that they paid women for sexual acts and that both men are facing felony charges. Not only does Donalds say that is flat out not true, but the DOJ does too, calling them completely false and made up allegations.
So you're basically saying that Donalds has completely denied these allegations. Has he said anything else?
Yeah, he has some pretty strong words. I mean, this election is less than 2 weeks away, and so he called Fishback a clown. He also noted, in his opinion, that this is an act of desperation and saying that it speaks for itself.
Yeah, Christian, we're also seeing a lot of searches about Donalds and his relationship with President Trump. What do you know about that?
Look, you could say that the two are allies of each other. Certainly, Byron Donalds is an ally for the president in Congress, and then the president actually endorsed Donalds for the Republican ticket for Florida's governor's race before he technically even announced that he was running. So the two are pretty tight, you could say, and that goes back several years now. You'll remember maybe that back in 2024, when President Trump was running for re-election, one of the names that was floating around as a potential VP pick was in fact Donald. So they're pretty close.
And Christian, real quick, we're seeing a lot of searches about the Florida gubernatorial race. Can you give us a quick breakdown on who's got the better shot at winning and how do these last minute jabs, true or not, actually can help swing the race?
You know, sometimes these last minute jabs are a bombshell, so to speak, that do exactly as intended or uncover something very important before voters make up their mind. Sometimes they backfire. It seems like this is trending towards the latter in that Fishback is not picking up momentum as far as we can tell. In fact, this condemnation from the DOJ seems to really shed light on perhaps that these allegations are made up entirely.
Wow. Christian Cordero, appreciate you, sis. Have a great weekend.
You too.
We just ran through your top searches, but what else is on your timeline? Let's get back to Maya. Maya, what else is trending on this Friday?
Ashan, big news for gamers. Nintendo released its latest financial report and reconfirmed that the highly anticipated Zelda Ocarina of Time remake is still set to launch this year. But release date rumors swirling on social media has fans turning to search to see if the game will land this fall or face potential delays. And some strong results in the fast food world. Burger King saw U.S. same-store sales jump 8.5%, thanks in large part to its updated Whopper, which now features a premium bun, updated mayo, and a new box container. So it looks like customers are happily having it their way.
I swear I was teasing them the last time they made these Whopper updates, but it looks like it's working for Burger King, so shout out to them. Thank you, Maya. Have a great weekend. Coming up, one search always leads to another. We've got a trending topic, but that's just the surface. Foreclosures are on the rise, and so are scams targeting homeowners. The Spiral is up next. Welcome back to Search. Today's top searches are only part of the story. A simple scroll can sometimes take you down a deep rabbit hole. It's time now for The Spiral. All right, and it looks like you guys have a lot of questions about being a homeowner, and we're following your clicks and curiosity, and it looks like you guys want to know about a foreclosure scam that's on the rise and what to know about how to protect yourself. So let's break it down. We've got a Perry Russum up first, then Chen Zhao. Y'all, thank you so much for being here. Let's start with that warning from authorities about a scam that could cost you your home. Perry Russum reported on this in an ABC News investigation. Perry, the report was just fascinating. The details were unsettling. You actually spoke to this woman who says her father lived in Arizona and was a victim of this exact scheme. What actually happened?
Yeah, her name is Vanessa Lurie. Her dad was living in Mesa, Arizona. He was battling dementia at the time. That's when Vanessa says she started getting phone calls from this guy saying he was her dad's new landlord. She had no idea what was going on. And according to Vanessa, this company found out her dad's house was going into foreclosure, showed up to the house and convinced her father, who was battling dementia, to sign over the property. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Even until he died. He was in the hospital bed and he said, get my house back. And I said, I'll do my best. So.
All these years later, it's still affecting you.
Yeah.
Clearly very emotional. Ultimately, they went to court. They reached an agreement where the man who acquired the house admitted no wrongdoing, but still Vanessa and her dad lost the home. Between the loss of the house and attorney's fees, Vanessa says her family lost between $100,000 and $150,000. That company is now facing a lawsuit from the Arizona Attorney General's office. They're accused of running a racketeering enterprise impacting hundreds of homeowners and running an equity stripping scheme. And in court documents, the lawyer for the company says what they were doing is not equity stripping.
Yeah, Perry, what's your understanding in your reporting of why this is happening and why this uptick of these schemes are taking place?
Yeah, so none of this is new, but this all appears to be tied to the number of foreclosures going up. Foreclosures spiked 21% in the first 6 months of this year compared to last year. Much of that has to do with the pandemic. So programs that were in place to keep people in their homes during the pandemic are now gone. And with the cost of living going up, so are foreclosures. And when you go into foreclosure, all that information goes online where alleged scammers can find it and then make you a target.
Gotcha. And so, Perry, is anything being done to actually stop this scam from happening across the country?
Yeah, so there are some calls to change laws that would tighten regulations. They would target people without real estate licenses. They would penalize lawyers and title companies who might be involved in schemes, and then ban that equity stripping, as I was mentioning. But as we all know, changing laws will take some time, Ashin.
Yeah, Perry, what is law enforcement actually telling you? What are they giving? What advice are they giving to homeowners about how to protect themselves?
You know, that's a big question we had too. They tell us just be careful of the people who just show up and start knocking on your door who say they can help. You can always turn to your state's attorney general's office, go to a licensed real estate agent. They also have some nonprofit legal services providers who can also help, Ashin.
Perry, really appreciate you, man. Great reporting there. Let's bring in Chen Zhao from Redfin. Chen, thank you so much for joining us. So why in your understanding and expertise, are foreclosures on the rise right now?
Yes, thanks so much for having me today. So yes, foreclosures are increasing. I would say that the numbers, they probably look a little bit more concerning than the actual situation is. What happened was that during the pandemic, a lot of mortgages were put into forbearance. So that meant that delinquencies and foreclosures and mortgages really dropped a lot. And what we've seen since then is more of like what I would call a normalization of the market, meaning that the delinquency rate and the foreclosure rate is coming back closer to what we saw during the pre-pandemic period, which is more of like a normal level for the mortgage market. I wouldn't be so concerned in terms of like, is the foreclosure rate really shooting up? It's not. In the grand scheme of things, it's really not that high. In fact, foreclosure starts are actually still below the pre-pandemic levels right now. But part of the reason why they're increasing is because, the labor market has gotten weaker. It's not weak yet, but it has gotten weaker over the last couple of years. And we know that mortgage delinquencies and eventually foreclosures are often tied to people losing their jobs.
Chen, I'm going to need you to be kind to me in these next couple of questions because I'm a renter trying to understand this world. But we always hear the word equity being tossed around when we're talking about the housing market. What exactly is that, and why is it so important when buying a home?
Yes. So equity is basically, how much of the house you actually own as a homeowner, right? Because when most people buy a home, what they do is they take out a mortgage and then they put some percent down. So that means that, they're borrowing a lot of money from the bank, but there's some percent of it that they actually own outright themselves. So if you put 20% down right away, you have 20% equity in your home. And then how much your equity, grows or changes depends on how the value of your home is changing over time and how much of your mortgage you're paying down, right? And what we know right now is that homeowners have a record amount of home equity that they're sitting on. And the reason is because home prices have actually gone up so much, especially during the pandemic period. And that's really relevant for when you're talking about foreclosures, because one thing that protects the broader market from foreclosures is when people have a lot of home equity. It means that they're very unlikely to go underwater, and we're unlikely to see foreclosures really shoot up.
So, Chen, when we're talking about these scams, we're seeing the term equity stripping come up. How can homeowners protect themselves from equity stripping, and what actually is it?
Yeah, so I think what is happening is that homeowners are being told that they can access some of the equity that is in their home. So, really, the way that you want to protect yourself against any scam like this and really any other scam is to really just like do your homework and make sure that the person that you're interacting with, the person you're talking to, is actually who they say they are, that they're reputable, they're someone that you can trust. So if someone is approaching you, you really have to, go in and like dig into this person's background. One of the tips I always say to people around me is if someone is calling you on the phone, you should say, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to call you back and make sure that they're actually who they say they are. So I think it's really some of these common sense things that you want to, some of these actions that you want to take to protect yourself against any scam.
Chen Zhang, those are some fantastic tips. Really appreciate your time and thanks for joining us. Still ahead, it might be at the top of your feed, but what's the vibe? We've got your top pop culture and entertainment searches with Roxy Diaz, including who might be the next Cyclops in X-Men. We've got the vibe check. It's next. It's time now for our vibe check, a look at what's buzzing in entertainment and pop culture. And our Roxy Diaz joins me now for more on what's trending on your feeds. Roxy, happy Friday. What's the vibe, sis?
Oh, happy Friday to you. Such a great week. And we're going to start off with a feel-good story right now. 89-year-old Mary, her story from Tulsa, Oklahoma, kept a photo of Michael B. Jordan framed right alongside her grandchildren's pictures. And when her granddaughter noticed, her TikTok went viral when she posted it, and then the man himself reached out. The Center Stars team sent the family a gift, including some David Yurman jewelry featuring an amethyst, Mary's birthstone. And then the moment, MBJ FaceTimed Mary personally, thanking her for including him in her beautiful family. Now, somewhere between honorary grandson and Hollywood superstar, Michael B. Jordan just proved grandma has always had elite taste. Love this story. He's such a great guy. Now, the new X-Men era is taking shape. Heartstopper star Kit Connor has reportedly been cast as Cyclops in the Marvel Studios' upcoming X-Men film. Connor steps into the visor worn before by James Marsden and Ty Sheridan, with Marsden actually returning as Scott Summers. First in Avengers Doomsday, making this a true passing of the torch. Fans have waited since Disney's 2019 Fox acquisition for the Mutants Marvel debut, and the roster is finally coming together, one I-beam at a time. And this is just a reminder for all our viewers, Disney is the parent company of Marvel and ABC News. Now, the gang is back together. Netflix announced it has begun on Grown Ups 3 with Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Chris Rock, David Spade, Rob Schneider, Maya Rudolph, Maria Bello, and Salma Hayek all returning. The premise writes itself. The kids are all grown up now, so per the official description, the gang is finally free to go on that ultimate adventure. Julie Bowen, Dion Cole, and Bailey Madison joined the cast. The original dropped in 2010, the sequel in 2013. 13 years later, the Lake House crew rides again. And why don't you have a seat? A24 just dropped the trailer for Prime Time, starring Robert Pattinson, has Chris Hansen in the story behind To Catch a Predator, set in 2006. The film follows Hansen as he sets out to make television history with the infamous Dateline Sting segment, with Emmy winner Merritt Weaver as his producer, Skylar Gisondo as the young actor hired for the operation, and Phoebe Bridgers is an undisclosed role. Now, the casting and the internet is buzzing about Pattinson's transformation into the unflappable TV host, and uncanny. It's just crazy how he looks right now. In the premiere, it's going to premiere at the Venice Film Festival in September before hitting theaters nationwide September 25th. And award, they're already chattering about it. We cannot wait to see this. And Ash, I hear that you are about to break the 6-degree separation myth, because somehow this movie hits close for you. Is that true?
You already know. Yeah, this movie is the brainchild of my little cousin Joan Singh. He's the screenwriter and he's making his executive producer debut in Hollywood. You know, he's always been my little cousin and we've always been wondering what he's doing writing these films, but we're super proud of him. He's actually missing my wedding to be at the Venice Film Festival for the movie's premiere. It's about a good enough excuse as you can get.
I Jamie.
miss a wedding.
Venice Film Festival, Cuzzo's wedding. That's a hard one.
That's what I'm saying.
A hard one.
I can't even give him a hard time of it. Joan, we're all super proud of you, and this movie is going to be the movie of the year. So thank you so much,
I love
Roxy.
that. Well, congratulations to your family, and congratulations to you.
Appreciate you, Rox. Thanks so much. All right, I'm Ashin Singh, and this is Search on ABC News Live, where your questions meet real answers. We'll leave you with what's trending right now on abcnews.com. You can scan that QR code right there to catch up. And Gio Benitez, we'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.